Hey friends, welcome back for another Trinity Stamps video. This is Cassie. Today I'm going to be sharing a sneak peek actually of the All Cracked Up stamp set. So here is what it looks like. This will be released tomorrow. So that is that darling little gnome, and he is from the All Cracked Up stamp set. All right, I'm going to start off with doing some Copic coloring. I went ahead and already stamped out these images. I stamped these onto some Express It cardstock using some ink on 3 Blackout ink. That paper and ink combo is just really good for alcohol markers, and in this case I'm using my Copics. I'm going to do my best to put those colors up on the screen, and I'm going to stick to mostly 2 color blends. I think I may just use 1 in some instance, but 2 is the most that I'll do for this image. And I like to start lightest to darkest. So for his hat, which I always love coloring these gnomes hats, I'm going to bring in my next color, which is R43, and I don't go all the way to the edge mostly. That just gives the illusion that it is a rounded image, and his hat would definitely be rounded. And then I'll blend that out just a little bit, and then I'll bring in that R43 again just to add a little bit more depth and dimension. And then I'm going to color the egg. And this is pretty simple. I tried to pick colors that would be a little bit more pastel, that would be a little bit springy. So our pinks are very light, our orange is very light. Now for his skin tone, I did use some E00, and then I'm going to come in with some E11 and just add a little bit to where his little knuckles would be, and then his cheeks and his nose. And then we're going to come in and color his beard with some W1. And I'm not going to color the entire beard. I'm using mostly flicking motions for his beard. And I just find that the beards are super fun, and you have so many different color combinations that you could do. Obviously it's hair, so lots of fun there. I'm bringing in some T3 now, which the W's and the T's are obviously a little bit different. The T is more of a neutral color, and the W is a warm gray. But then those together just give this fun look, almost a little bit more realistic. For our purples, we've got some BV02. And then the darker shade that I'm going to use is BV13. And just add that into some areas. Again, doing that same sort of technique where I don't go all the way to the edge, because the egg is rounded as well. And then I'll blend that out and even add more color to it. And then we're going to move on to using some of those same colors that we did for the chick. And isn't that chick just the cutest? So there are lots of little gnomes being released for this release, and they all can coordinate so well together. And there's even some more chicks, so keep an eye out tomorrow. You are definitely going to want to check it out. And I hope that you've been paying attention to all of the sneaks that have been happening this week, whether it be on Facebook or Instagram or here on YouTube. All right, now for our final color, I actually start with some G00. It is a little bit more of a turquoise color, so I'm bringing in some blue-green 3-2, and then we'll blend that out again. And then I'm just going to go ahead and trim those out. The coordinating dies will be available next month, but definitely get your hands on those adorable gnomes. My next step would be to bring in this Trinity Stamps Slimline Scenic Borders die. I'm going to cut out some grass on this lighter green cardstock, and I just grabbed cardstock from my stash. I'll tack that down with a little bit of washi tape, and then I have a darker green I'm using. So this die could be clouds or it could be bushes. I'm going to use it for bushes. And then my card base is going to be a standard A2 size card, so I cut that down to 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and scored it at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to add some blending using my blender buddies and some distress oxides just on the bottom edges. So I'll clean that off a little bit, and I'll bring in another color for my bushes, and I want that color to look like it's coming up from behind the grass. So that is where our darker shade would be, and I'm just matching those up, lining that up to see how that's going to look. I'm going to add some splatter using some distress oxide sprays, and I do like the big blobs, but I decided I want a finer mist, so I'm just going to flick that across the edge of the bottle. And then I'm going to set that off to the side to dry, and we'll work on our card base. I've pulled out another Distress Oxide color, and then I'm just going to blend that up the same way I did for the bushes. So I'm not really concerned about the harsh line at the very bottom because that will be covered. And then I'm going to bring in some cracked pistachio distress oxide and splatter that all over that background. And then I'm going to hit these with my heat tool and go ahead and glue these together. This bush is a little too big for my panel or my card base, so I'm going to glue that down and not really be too worried that it's going to hang over because I'll just trim that out using my guillotine trimmer. And I love how that splatter looks on there. Trim that down and then I'll attach my grass to the front of it. And I love how much dimension this looks like it has. So we'll glue that down with a little bit of that liquid glue as well. And then we're going to put this right back into our splatter box and we are going to splatter this with some of the Trinity Gold palette. I love these paints. I'll just put a little bit of water right on the gold one that I plan to use and use a very fine detail brush and splatter that all over that background. You can't really see a whole lot of that right now because that one is going to give you some very fine dots. But I will bring in a little bit of water and I'll splatter that and I end up getting big splotches, which is fine. I am going to wipe up a little bit of that. That's a little too big and a little too close to that one dot, and but that's okay. So I'll wipe up just a little bit of that and set that off to the side to dry. And then I'm going to cut down the 2 sentiments that came in this stamp set. I love the one that says, "Hey Chick." I can see using that on so many cards. So I'm just trimming this down, going to give that a little bit of an angle on the one side, and we'll do the same thing with the Happy Easter. Trim that one down. And then give it a little bit of an angle on the left-hand side. And that one's going to go on the inside of my card. I should have dried this, but I didn't. So I'm getting my sentiment put down and I touch it and some of the wet gets onto the Hey Chick, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to cover that with an embellishment. So when things like that happen, just work with it. I want our little gnome to have some movement. So I put an action wobbler on the back. Easy to put down, and look at him, he just kind of goes all over the place. And then I'll stick our little chick down like he's watching him, just with a little bit of liquid glue. I have grabbed out some embellishments. These are the Easter Eggcitement embellishments, and I put those into my tidy tray, and see, I'm just going to cover up that little mistake with an Easter egg, and it works perfect. And so then I'll stick a few more down just because these are so cute and they go so well. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to glue my sentiment on the inside of my card, which I probably should have done before I did anything on the outside. But there you go. There is our finished card, and he's got lots of fun movement, fun embellishments, and he is adorable. So like I said, he will be released tomorrow, so go ahead and check that out. All right, if you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.